Hello, good evening, and welcome to the McLuhan Institute Live, number 28, from Bogota to Bloomfield and back again. Here I am back in Eric McLuhan's library, and as you can see, I have a stack of books. I am documenting the McLuhan shelves, which is what I've been looking forward to. Oh, hi, Amanda. Which I've been looking forward to, and I've just started into it. Just a couple updates. So I just got back from Bogota, where, I was down there at the Universidad de la Sabana for the first Cátedra Eric McLuhan 2019, which is a sort of mini conference / seminar in honor of my dad, Professor Eric McLuhan, who died there last May in 2018. And they're honoring him and remembering him by having this little conference every year. They've also named a scholarship in his honor, and the scholarship is for 2 students, I believe, every year, and it pays 80% of their tuition, which is incredible. It's very humbling how the university there is honoring Dad, and they've sort of taken him on. You know, when a tragedy like that happens, we were down there, I was there with Dad, for the launch of their PhD program in communication, which I believe is the first PhD program in communication in media study in Colombia. And Dad was invited down to give a talk. And that's why we were there for the opening of the program. And he died in the hotel room the day we were to be heading back, the day after he gave a quite remarkable speech, Media Ecology in the 21st Century. Which ended up being literally his last word on the subject. And you know, when something like that happens, it can cast a dark cloud on a program, or it can be a silver lining. And they've decided to go the other way and to use it as a point of encouragement. And it's almost like they've adopted Dad as the patron saint of the program, which is really nice for me. And I love my Bogota fam at the Universidad de la Sabana, Anna, Angelita, Manuel, Victor, Sergio, who I'm very upset I wasn't able to see this time. He was not well enough to come out, and I'm thinking about you, Sergio, if you're watching. So I was invited down to be part, and I gave the opening address at this first conference in honor of Dad. And the conference will welcome the new students every year. The Universidad de la Sabana Faculty of Communication is about 1,300 strong, with 3 last year in the first year of the PhD, and another 4 this year coming into the program. So they're growing, making progress, which is good. So I talked, the topic of the conference was political speech in the age of social networks and big data. And I talked a bit about who Marshall and Eric McLuhan were, where their work came from, and then with an eye toward the subject, and I kind of brought it in at the end to discussing political speech in this age. And hopefully I'll get a copy of the recording and be able to share it with you. It's kind of funny, I read it in English while the 200 or so people in the audience read the Spanish translation. My good friend Enrique did me the honor of translating it into Spanish for me. So that was kind of funny to hear, 200 pages turning at the same time. It's kind of a unique experience. Anyway, it went really well, and it was an honor to be down there. And as a result, coming back to Dad's speech, Media Ecology in the 21st Century, I had a viewing of it at the Media Ecology Association conference back in June, and I wanted to show it there first. But it is currently being uploaded to the McLuhan Institute YouTube page and might be ready now. So before the night is through, I'll hit go on that so the rest of the world can enjoy that speech, which is a very important and remarkable little speech. Dad's concluding words have really given me strength this last year and a bit because he's encouraging the people at the Universidad de la Sabana to go their own way, to find their own path. But he's also speaking to any of us who are doing something new, something different, something for the first time, to have courage and to have the courage to go a different way and not be afraid to blaze a new trail. So that's what I'm trying to do, and rest in peace, Dad. We love you. What else was the news? I guess that was the major news. Hello to everybody watching. Thanks for being here. You can also follow the McLuhan Institute on Twitter, where I'm currently trying to get Elon Musk to write an introduction for a book I decided I have to write on McLuhan. Good luck with that. If anybody knows Mr. Musk, send him my way. Twitter, I'm on Instagram, here on Facebook, the YouTube channel, the McLuhan Institute, and probably other places I can't think of. So, maybe I should have made notes because there was something else that I wanted to mention, but no big deal. What I'm doing here is I'm in the library of Eric McLuhan, 6,000 or so books. And every week on Tuesday at 9 o'clock, just about every week, I try to do a brief live segment so I can bring you into my process and show you the books that I'm documenting and discoveries or non-discoveries as I make them. Sometimes there's really interesting stuff. Sometimes it's kind of boring, but I appreciate you being here with me. So I guess that was the other thing I wanted to announce, that I decided to write a book. It's going to be kind of my take on Marshall and Eric McLuhan, their work and where it came from. And the other major part of it will be my attempt to bring the more common terms they use, like medium, media, formal cause, census communists, sensory input, sensory closure, all these sort of specialized terms which are kind of hard to understand. I'm going to do my best to put them into terms that people today can understand. So that's what I decided to do. We'll see how that goes. The other thing I was going to do was, not last week, but the week before, I brought out this box of Corinne McLuhan's letters. And I spent rather a long time reading one letter that I thought was amazing, only to be reminded later that that letter was actually published in the book Letters of Marshall McLuhan, edited by Corinne McLuhan and Mady Molinaro. Oops. So it's been seen before, but I thought I'd maybe poke around a little bit and share some other stuff with you that hasn't been seen before. And I found this envelope, and it says Mrs. Elsie McLuhan, Marshall's mother, Elsie Naomi Hall McLuhan, written in Corinne McLuhan's handwriting there. Below it in Marshall's handwriting, it says 430 New England Terrace, Orange. I think that's NJ for New Jersey, USA. Orange, New Jersey. Sent from Toronto, July 20th, 8:30 p.m., 1951, the Evening Post, the night before Marshall's 40th birthday. That's interesting. And there's no letter in here. Maybe there was at one time. But there are some photographs which I'd never seen before. This is pretty neat. So here is a photograph of Marshall McLuhan, and I'm not sure, that could be St. Louis University. It could be Cambridge University. I have no way of knowing. And on the back, all it says is A2794. And I'm not sure what that means. This is fun. On the back it says something christening. And here's a fun scene. That's Corinne McLuhan laughing her head off in some kind of chair or wheelchair or something with a couple of people behind her. I don't know who they are. Maybe someone out there does and will tell me. And maybe somebody can decipher that as well. AFAI, christening. I'm not sure. Again, that's Corinne's handwriting. This is special. On the back it says, about ready for bottle. And that would be Corinne McLuhan and baby Eric McLuhan. Speaking of Dad. I don't know if anybody is... Well, I think my sister Emily is watching this, so perhaps she's interested. Hey, and there is Grandma Corinne, and I believe Eric again. These are sweet pictures which I had never seen before. For those who don't know, Corinne and Marshall McLuhan had 6 children. Here are a few more of them. There's Eric in the back, and 3 girls, maybe McLuhan's, probably by that point the girls were born. And this, I have actually seen one of these before, if not this exact picture. Here is a McLuhan family Christmas with Marshall and Corinne and all the kids. Eric, my father, pointing a gun at the camera, looking down the barrel. I got in a little bit trouble for pointing a picture of myself doing exactly the same thing, publishing a picture. People thought that was alarming. Whatever, kid stuff. And speaking of, there's Dad again, baby Eric. And on the back here it says Eric at 5.5 months. Look at that, isn't that sweet? I am way more interesting than the Democratic debates. Yeah, really. Well, maybe. Anyway, there's some pictures. Let's see if we can find a letter in here. I want to be careful because some of these letters are from before Marshall and Corinne knew each other. At least I hope before. And they're letters from suitors of Corinne's. I'm gonna embarrass my Uncle Michael here. Here's a letter from my Uncle Michael to my grandmother, 1964. Is that 60? No, it can't be. 84. Mrs. Corinne McLuhan from Thunder Bay. Say cheese, Uncle Mike. Oh, he's gonna kill me. Love you, Mike. Not the worst. I've put my foot in it, so let's not worry. Okay, let's pick a letter at random here, if we can find one. Here's a postcard. Mount Vernon, Texas. General Sam Houston's home, the Mount Vernon of Texas. A lovely scene. Can anybody guess who this is from? It's addressed to Mr. Marshall McLuhan, 4343 McPherson, St. Louis, Missouri. Corinne says, "Hello, remember me?" Corinne. Let's put that aside. Here's another postcard. Whoa. This is the seawall, Galveston, Texas. Oh, unfortunately, this is washed out a little bit. Again, addressed to Mr. Marshall McLuhan on McPherson in St. Louis. Something you'd love. Shades of Casablanca? No. This is a... No, well, I'm sorry, that's awful. I can't read it. It's really washed out. I could maybe make it out if I put some effort into it. Here's... Well, these are all Corinne letters, and I would feel a little awkward reading them without, I don't know, screening them first, you know? Wouldn't want to, you know, there's... Okay, so there's a fine line here, you know, when you're dealing with people's personal communications and, you know, you want to respect people's privacy even though they're long gone, but it's so cute. Look, Wednesday, 9 p.m. My pet. I shall eliminate all apologies for this paper and pencil. I blush nevertheless, for I'm up to my ears in work. Ralph having just left, I'm now scribbling madly before Pat arrives for a dose of tutoring. So this hodgepodge is in the nature of a sandwich between meals. I guess it's scandalous to be writing pencil instead of pen. Oh, here comes Pat. How about look at these picnic snaps? Lovingly, Corinne. Picnic snaps. Well, the picnic snaps aren't here anymore. Or maybe they'll turn up somewhere else. I'll see if I can find... Ooh. Calm down, old bean. Tuesday. It does absolutely no good to get all het up over... Okay, I'm going to redact that. Yeah. See? Okay. I won't dive into this anymore. I apologize for the tease there. But, yeah. You know, I'm going to have to look at this a bit deeper before sharing any more, lest I overstep my bounds. The books I'm looking at right now from the top shelf are Who Was Marshall McLuhan, the first volume of McLuhan's Studies. Let's see if there's anything written in this. Okay, this is sweet. McLuhan Studies, Volume 1. I think this was 1990. I'll say a couple words about this. This was an ambitious project. This was the only volume published of several planned, 1991. A couple others exist virtually on the internet, and I need to tend to that ASAP. On the back here, we have the Next computer. Marquis Enterprises. Sean Marquis was the guy's name. He was a computer designer, and he built this computer called the Next, which was supposed to be the next best thing. It wasn't. Unfortunately, it didn't last, but Mr. Sean Marquis did contribute greatly toward the publishing costs of this volume, McLuhan Studies, Explorations in Culture and Communication. This is pretty cool because it's got all kinds of signatures in it by, I believe, most, if not all, of the contributors. There's Michael Edmonds, who might be watching. Frank's understudy, Joe. That would be a reference to Frank Zingroni. Joe Zingroni? I'm not sure. Best wishes always, Bob Logan, our friend Bob. Oh, there's Barry Nevitt's signature. Oh, love always, Mom. Oh, and Dad signed it himself, so that's kind of neat. I'm about to enter this into the inventory, but let's just check to see if there were any notations, and there aren't, except for the signatures at the front, which must have been from the launch party. Anyway, that's over my 15 minutes, so I'll cut it for now and get to work and try to get some books done. Thanks for being here, as always. Thank you for your support of the McLuhan Institute. Be sure to check out the YouTube, the McLuhan Institute on the YouTubes a bit later if you want to see Dad's last speech. Thank you to the Universidad de la Sabana for making the recording available. Really appreciate it. And thanks to you for being here. Peace.